This is the proper way to cape a deer for a shoulder mount, along with full breakdown and butchering guide. First, you're going to want to make an incision around the entire chest cavity of the deer. Remember, the more skin you leave your taxidermist, the better. You can never give them too much to work with. Next, make an incision up both legs all the way up the chest, meeting the previous cut. Do this on both legs. Next, make an incision up the hind quarters and begin skinning and peeling back the hide. This doesn't take very much force. You are gently using the tip of your knife to glide through the skin. Use pulling action to do majority of the work. Continue this process by bringing down the hide further along the body of the deer until you have reached your very first cut, removing the hind back half of the cape. Begin pulling down the rest of the cape gently using the tip of your knife, bringing all the way down to the throat. Next, make an incision to cut around the neck. Some twisting will be needed to remove the head. To break down a deer, first remove the front shoulder. The shoulder should be pulled away from the torso of the deer to expose the pass-through cut zone. Aiming your knife strokes from the hinge area, cutting parallel to the rib cage, passing through the shoulder joint. Next, we'll remove the back straps, which lie on either side of the spine from the hind quarters to the shoulder blades, and are easily removed by starting with a horizontal cut at the junction of the spine and pelvis, and then making a vertical cut down the spine. Cutting slowly and carefully to remove the meat from the bone, until you reach the base of the neck. Carefully lift away the back straps as you slice along the ribs, delicately trimming the meat from the rib cage. Cut as close to the spine and ribs as you can to ensure you don't leave any meat behind. The inner loins, deer's filet mignon, and is the tenderest piece of meat you will get from the deer. Around 12 inches in length and runs along the inside of the deer's backbone, ending at the hips. You can pull gently, being very careful with the loins as they are so tender they can rip easily. Here I am removing the flank, which I'm just using the rib cage as my guidelines. Remove ribs, neck, and lastly, hind quarters. Remove any sinew, silver skin, connective tissue, and unwanted fat, which is vital for best tasting meat. But if freezing for a long period of time, leave on silver skin. You can cut the back straps into 4-inch thick medallions, 1-inch thick steaks, butterflies, 5-inch thick fillets, or whole roast. To debone quarters, slice tight along the pelvis and hip bones to find the ball and socket joint. Then work your knife into the joint to separate the ball from the socket and free the leg. You can make bone-in shank cuts for ossobuco or simply remove the shank meat off hind leg with a knife. For the hind quarters, just cut the muscles off the bone. This will leave you with a large hunk of roast meat, which will be made up of around 3 muscle groups: the rump roast, bottom round, and eye of round. For the neck, remove esophagus and fillet meat off as close to the bone as possible. This will leave you with braised and roast meat, stewing, and burger meat, along with sausage meat. You can remove all the meat from the ribs for stewing and burger or sausage mix, or you can keep the bone in. I got 15 filet mignon steaks, 9 roasts, 12 fast fry steaks, 10 packs of stewing and ground burger meat, 6 packs of ribs, 13 backstrap steaks, and 2 prime rib roasts. When deciphering what cuts to make, think of how every time you lift weights, your muscles and fibers are broken down and then rebuilt with protein and other amino acids, growing stronger and denser, becoming tougher. The same applies to an animal. The hindquarters, which is where most of an animal's athleticism comes from, will be significantly tougher than the backstrap, which these muscles do not constantly bear weight. There is nothing more satisfying than knowing exactly where your food comes from, putting in the hard work it takes to get it, and knowing that your hands are the only ones that touched it. I harvested this buck with my bow on a solo hunt from the ground across a river. I recovered it, field dressed it, processed, and butchered it. This is putting meals on the table that are made with memories.